Hi everyone, good evening. We are just waiting for a few more people to join in. Once majority people joins in, we will start with our session. By the time, a small recap. Yesterday, we were able to complete the drill down. Good evening. A few more minutes and we will start. Till then, any questions, feel free to post in the chat. I'll be happy to help. Three more minutes, guys, and then we will start. But the time, request all of you to please keep your Power BI open. If the Power BI is open, please type down in the chat. No, we will not be connecting SQL right now, but the use of SQL is to connect database. So let's say if you have a huge database with, let's say more than, let's say a million data, or let's say more than 10 million or 20 million data, then in that case, you will have to go with SQL because Excel has a limitation, right? One can hold max to max 10 lakh records. That's basically 1 million records. So anything beyond that, then Excel won't be able to hold it in one sheet. So in that case, we use SQL and other platforms like CSV file format or something on that line. I hope that answers your question. Shekhar, yes, yeah. A minute more, guys. We are yet to reach. Okay. Anyways, 5 minutes or 200, whichever comes first, as always. So by the time, I'll just add up a new sheet here. That's C2. So requesting all of you to please create C2. That is the next chart that we'll be learning today. So today we'll be understanding column chart with more additional functionalities and features. How to present a chart with, let's say, targets and other elements. With that, we'll be incorporating slices. So I request all of you, please create sheet C2 and type done. That's a way of confirmation that your Power BI is open and you have created the sheet. Okay, I have 3 dones. Okay, that's good. Waiting for others. Okay, great. So let's get started, guys. So basically, now today we will be understand a bit more about the chart and the concepts of charts into it. So let's start with a very simple version. So requesting all of you to first create a stack chart, a stack column chart. Now we have already done this yesterday, so we'll just use that directly. For now, I'll just try to fit the entire thing into the screen. And as mentioned earlier yesterday, that automatically Power BI gives the text element first and the number element later. So in this situation, let's pick up country into the x-axis and profit. Let me not take profit, let me take sales. Sales into the y-axis. That will give you a 5-bar output. 5-bar output. Or let me do one thing. Let me not put country because country is giving almost equal bandwidth. Let me pick up product itself. Yeah, I guess this should be fine. Let's pick up product as the base in this case. So product wise sale in the stack bar. Product wise sales in stack bar. Complete till here. Okay. Now, let's say, for example, I want to see these numbers. Okay. I want to see those numbers, whatever profit or whatever sales are there. I want to see that numbers onto the screen. Now, how do I do that? To do this, first you need to select the visual. Okay. You need to select the visual. Come to the brush, the formatting. So formatting is a location or a place where majority of the settings are visible. And as mentioned yesterday, half of the things is just turn on and off. Half of the thing is just turn it on and off. So in this case, let's come down, look for something called data label. Turn it on. Turn it on. Now, as you can see, because the data label is there, the font is not that clear. So you'll have to open it. You'll have to open it. Now, currently the answers are in millions. I would like to have it in 1,000, and plus I want to have this font size a little bit bigger. So I'll scroll down, you would be see a collection of options. You need to reach for values because these are values, right? These are numbers. Numbers are values, basically. So you can see the font size over here. You can increase the font size. Let's say I'll go with 14 in this case. And then on the next, there is a drop down which says display unit and display decimal. This allows you to show the response. So this allows you to see the data in decimal points or not. So in this case, let's go to the drop down. Let's go to the drop down and you can take a choice. That currently it's automatic. If you say none, as you can see on the screen, the entire value is represented. Means there's no summing up. There's no aggregation. Similarly, if you put it in thousands, the value is represented in thousands. And as you choose your value, the output will change automatically. As you choose your value, your output will change automatically. Like in this case, it's in millions. And if you go further billions and trillions, your answers will change accordingly. In this case, it's not showing in billion because the answer now is in decimal. So in case you want to increase your decimal, then you'll have to come down with decimal points. I need to mention the decimal in that case. And if you do not want anything, don't put zero. Just keep it blank. Blank is basically automatic. But yes, for display unit, you have to set it automatic in case you want to have the value in the desired output. So please get your value displayed in the correct order. Please get your value displayed in the correct order. Now, this is our first visual. This is our first visual. Now, what I want here is I want to see some additional information. So for that, I'll do a little bit of space on the top. So let me squeeze the height a little bit. I'm leaving a little bit of space on the top so that I can have additional information. So first, requesting all of you to complete till here. Complete till here, and please type down in the chat box. We'll go slow here because contents are easy, but the settings are somewhat deep. So sometimes you may miss it out. So let's go step by step. Okay. Now, match color of bar with segments. Now, in this case, if you want to add segment into color, in that case, you'll have to first select the visual and let's say under legend, you'll have to drag segment. That will give you colors with segment into it. So basically, as I mentioned the last, anything that you add in the legend will end up giving a color to the base. And because this is a stacked chart, the data gets stacked one above the other. For example, if I take year and add it into the legend, the entire data gets divided into two slices of 2013 and 14. Okay, I want Akash, if you're referring to model build, and I'm assuming that model build, you're referring to the connection and the relationship, right? If that's the case, I'm not sure whether it would be a part of the current curriculum because moreover tomorrow will be the last and our understanding of the specific agenda is limited. So won't be able to cover up at least in the 7 because this entire Power BI, it's is a 24-hour session, of which we are only taking a, let's say, a little bit of it. So basically, as you understand, you are just covering what, around maybe 10-hour content today, like till date. So it will take a little bit more time to get in the detail of modeling. And for modeling, there are some rules that we have to follow, like unique, primary key, foreign key. So a lot of things would be a part of it. So yeah. So I'm really sorry for that, but won't be able to cover it in at least this demo sessions. But yeah, definitely, if you are able to reach out to Amar, in that case, if there is a recording he can refer, or if there is a way, then definitely you can reach out to him. Cool. I guess some of you guys are saying my voice is not audible. Okay. No worries. I'll go a little bit slow in case my voice is not audible. Oh, your question is changing the color blue. Definitely, that is a possibility. You just have to come to the brush over here, and then there is an option over here called column, right? So here under column, you can specify the color of your choice, and you can set your bar color accordingly. You can do that. So all the settings in reference to visualization can be done in the brush format. Can we do a live connection like SQL in Power BI? Yes, definitely you can connect SQL database with Power BI. Unfortunately, when you do SQL connect with Power BI, there are two options that you get. One is something called as a direct query, and the second is called as a like a table. So if you choose a direct query, then you will not be able to do Power Query in it. Apparently, because Power Query requires a static data, so your data is basically more over on a dynamic basis. But yes, to an extent, you can play around with the data and everything. So you will be able to see the data. All those things are possible. And direct query is something like a live data. So anything, any changes that happens at a query level, at a Power Query, in your case SQL, that will automatically reflect into your Power BI. But in a static data, the story are a bit different. Akash, appreciate your feedback. Thank you. Multi-row card, we will come to that. We have not started it yet, so I'll be coming to that gradually. But first, let's complete this output. So yeah, coming back to the output here. So now what I want is I want a bar chart. So I already have a bar chart. And the next thing is I have sales report. Yes, I have. But I also want to incorporate profit as a result also. And this is something that we have already learned, but in this case, we are going to implement that onto a bar chart. We are going to implement that onto a bar chart. So what I want here is if the higher the profit, I want the darker the color, lower the profit, lighter the color. Now for this, we use conditional formatting. Now the purpose of me showing this is just to let you know that every chart has a different option where you will see conditional formatting. On the early stage for scatter plot, we use marker because that was a scatter plot. But when you go with other chart, this name will vary. Your focus or what you have to look for is something called color. And within the color, you would be looking for something like an FX, indicating that's conditional formatting for you. By the way, there is a shortcut to do the conditional formatting also. So basically under the value field, if you go to the three dots over here, in this case, it's not there, but some situations you get a three dots where you have conditional formatting directly mentioned in the drop down here. But as of for now, we'll have to come to the brush. Under column tools, under columns, you have the FX, that's conditional formatting. I click on the FX button. Again, the rules are same. So you get the gradient rules and everything. So in this case, if I say it's blank, do not format. The lowest value, I give it a color. Let's say I'll go with a lighter gray. And for the higher color, I'll give it a dark blue color, indicating the range in this case. And if need be, I can also give a mid color range. Let's say I'll give a mid color range is orange. Once the range is decided on the sum of sales, I want to change that to profit. In this case, I'll set the data to profit and that's it. I click OK and I have a range bound answer. I have a range bound answer. As you can see, the product at the first is extremely high profitability with higher sale, but that cannot be said for all the bars because some cases, even being in the middle, the profit is low. Even being at the middle, the profit is low. And if you want to see the number, if you want to see the profit, then in that case, we would request you to please drag tooltip as profit. Tooltip as profit. Please do the needful. Please do the needful and let me know in the chat once done. So please tell how to make pie chart in Power BI. To make a pie chart in Power BI, it's very simple. So you already have a pie chart here, right? Just click on it. Then you add the parameter into the legend. So in this case, let's say you can add product. And let's say discount amount. So basically, this is basically a pie chart. So it's very simple here. So basically, you pick up a chart and then you simply incorporate information into it. The only rule is whenever you are trying to create a fresh chart, don't click on an existing visual. Because if you do that, it will replace that selected chart. So always click on the blank area and then add a chart. That way it would be easy. Sure, I'll repeat again, no worries. So first, your bar chart is to be created. The content for the bar chart is product-wise sales. In this case, you are representing sales-based data. Okay, so you are representing sales-based data. But I also want to see profit-based output. So what I do is I come to the brush over here, the formatting. I repeat again, everywhere it will not be marker or everywhere it will not be conditional formatting directly mentioned. So you'll have to look for it. In this case, because it's a column chart, you'll have to go under columns. And there is a color section with FX button on it. And I already mentioned, if there is an FX button, that means conditional formatting. Click on it. Click on it. It will bring up a box, a panel, where you can plot your information. Please complete the output till here. So conditional formatting. Yes, exactly. So basically, conditional formatting allows you to show additional information. As you can see, normally you would not be able to see two information, right? Because if you have to see two information, you'll have to hover the mouse, or let's say you'll have to make a separate visual for that. Here, things become easy because in one visual itself, you are able to communicate two information. Similar to the scatter plot, if you remember, in scatter plot, we were able to represent healthy life expectation versus generosity or freedom to make life choices. And in that, we incorporated, let's say, GDP per capita as a ratio, color range. So, incorporating three information, although X and Y can only hold one, right? So, similar to that. It's all about how we present our data, how we portray our output. Cool, cool. Perfect. Waiting for everyone's confirmation, guys. I only have 2 to 3 confirmations yet. Once you are done till here, just click OK, and that should conclude your output. Okay, you want me to go slow? No worries. Let me know if you want me to repeat anything. I don't mind repeating again. So please tell how to learn the. So to get the conditional formatting, basically you'll have to come here under the drop down. And if your question is how to learn conditional formatting in bit more detail, that's totally on practice. Because you need to understand what to represent where. So let's say sales to order quantity ratio, that is also useful at times. If you believe that the lower sales or lower quantity can also lead to higher sales or higher profit. So that depends totally. It depends on what kind of business you are working in. Depending on that, you need to play around with the data. Another more minute, guys, and then I'll continue further. Uh, I don't know do much change into the graph. The only thing I incorporated is I incorporated profit. So under the fields, I added profit into the tooltip. So that even though when I'm hovering the bounce, I also get the information of profit also as a part. No. Okay, so no, they do not specify. So none of the client will anytime specify what kind of chart they are looking for. Basically, we will have to look at our end itself. Yeah. Okay. Great, guys. Now, let's say, for example, I believe majority of you guys are done. What I want here is I want to see more information. Now, basically, the information that I want to see is the total sales, total order quantity, average, and so on and so forth. And to get these information, I will have to have a single box with numbers into that. And for that purpose, we use an option called card. We use called card. Okay. I click on card. I click on card. That brings up the frame here. Now, what is a card? Card is an element which gives you one single value, right? So in this case, let's pick up sales into the block, and that's my total sales. That's my total sales. I'll try to squeeze it over here. Let me put it on the left side. I'll also increase the height here, or let me rather decrease the font over here. So I come to the brush, and here I can decrease the font by, let's say, 35. And that should be fine for me. There we go. And that's basically my total sales. Let me help you again. How did I do that? So first, I created a card. Then I incorporated total sales into it. With that, I went to the brush and using call out value, I reduced the font size, which allowed me to fit the entire frame into one book. Let's say I'll mark it as total sales. And that's my first block. And such a way that if I click on any of the blocks over here, that definitely gives me the same answer into that block as well. right? Now let's say next one. Now the easiest part over here is once you have one frame, it's easy to create the second copy. So it's just a matter of copy paste. You can place it on the next side. Let's say you can pick up average sale. So that's why just by changing the average, you can make it average sales. Let's say I'll just make it AVG. That's average sales for us. So now if I pick up a product, I can see the total sale is 33 million, but the average sale per product is 163,000. Average sale per product is 163,000. So that's how I can make more sense out of the data. Let's say I want to know the quantity. So I do have sales units sold. So let me put it units sold. So 1.13 million units were sold. Okay. So if I pick up any one value, I can see the answer. But in this case, as you can see, when I'm clicking, so it is giving me the answer in decimals with 2 decimals. I don't want 2 decimals in this case. So I go to the brush. Under the value, I specify that display unit is fine, but the decimal should not be there. So I put it in 0, indicating I do not want any decimal. I do not want any decimal. Next, I'll again make a copy of this. So basically, it's just a matter of copy paste. You can plot the information as per your choice, and the output is created. Now, let's say in the next one, I want to see the total discount given out, and that's the total discount. And last but not the least, total profit. Total profit. So basically, these are the informations that's there. And when you click on any of the bar chart, you can exactly see the result being plotted onto the screen. Let's say if I click on VTT, you can see the total sale for VTT is 21 million. Average sale per product is 188,000. Units sold for that particular set of product is 169,000. The total discount given out was 1 million and the profit out of it was 3 million. Basically, post, if it was not been discounted, I would have got a profit of around 4 million. But again, for the business, we need to give the discount. So that's how it works. Call out is basically term. These numbers have been called out over here, right? That's called call out. So please complete till here first. Take 2 minutes and complete it out. Okay. Can we? Yes, we can incorporate a chart in a chart, and that is called as a tooltip. Secondly, we can also incorporate these numbers in here. Let's say, for example, rather than me representing 3 million, I want to see the entire profit, and the profit should be on the right corner over here. You can do that also by just simply going to call out and rather saying it as auto, just make it none, indicating the entire profit number fully. This way also you can present the output. So basically, depending on whichever parameter you click upon, you can see the exact profit being presented. Something like this is also something we can try out. So if you are referring chart within a chart, you can do this, but there is a small challenge, that is when you click on the second chart, the number disappear. And for that, what to do, I'll come to that. So let's do one thing, guys. Let's all do this output. So please put profit into your chart. So I can show you how to form it out, or how to frame it out. How did you remove the sum? To remove the wording sum and all, you just click on the card and there's a label over here, right? The field, just double click on the field and make the necessary changes. As the label changes, the name inside also changes automatically. Okay, cool, cool. Please complete till here. So replace the profit. So profit was earlier in a rounded format. Let's reset it back to the full number. We okay. So to prefix, you will have to set this value into currency. Can be done. Let's say basically you have to click on the profit column, and from here we have set it into, let's say, comma separator, right? You will have to set it into a currency in this case. So let's say rupee over here. So as you can see this here, you see this particular currency can be a prefix over here. So only thing is you'll have to set the value into currency. So to do that, you'll have to click on the column, and from here, before the comma separator, you will have to specify the currency type. I hope that answers your question. Okay. Okay. I hope everyone is done till here. Now coming to the next output here, guys. So basically, once we are done till here, now I want to set some markers. First and foremost, if you realize, as soon as you click on the chart, the number disappears. And that is one of the problems that you may face in future also when you're presenting some other additional visual, which we'll be working on. Now, in this case, what I want is whenever I click on the chart, I still want to see the profit, because every time you click on the profit value here, so let's say when you click on the chart for a variable, the profit disappear, right? So I don't want that to happen. So I want this profit always to be visible on the right side. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So to get that thing done, you click on the card or you click on the visual. Now here what is happening here is, although the chart is being placed, there is a white background. The only thing is our actual page background is also white and our chart background is white. So they are blending with each other. I want to see to it that my particular card or my particular chart should be see-through, transparent. So in this case, I click on the chart first. Step one, click on the chart. Come to the brush. This time you will not be playing with the visual section. You'll not be playing with the visual section. Rather, you will come to the general section. You'll come to the general section. Under general section, you would be seeing something called effect. Effects are basically options which is available for the visual additional purposes. In this case, the additional effects that we are giving is the background. In our case, we do not want the background, so we simply turn it off. Basically telling that I don't want the background. So now basically, if I click on my visual on my tree and I try clicking on my value, you can see that doesn't matter. I will still see the profit. Because in such case, even the chart is being brought up front. Because of this see-through functionality, I'm able to see my numbers behind. Leela, tell me what's your question. You can unmute. Okay. I guess there are no questions then. Can also be done using. Yes, can also be done through background transparency, but that the reason I don't use that transparency option is because, so let's say if you click on the visual here, okay, and you thought of making it transparent. So what's happening here is you are actually making it a partial transparent. So basically it will look like this. Number is not clear. It looks like it's a blur output. So you'll have to either make the transparent fully zero, like fully 100%, sorry, not zero, 100% transparent. So if you're putting 100% transparent, it's equivalent to like showing no background. So it's one and the same in that case. Yeah. Yes, if you resize, it's in this case, if you try to resize the visual, the card will remain in the same location because all these are different entity. All of these are different entities. Even these cards, all of them are individual entities, right? So they don't move with the chart unless you group them. So they'll not move it with the chart. So to move them, you have to group it basically. Background is off. If the background is off, just check whether you are trying to turn off the background for the card. So every visual has its own background, right? So even if you turn off the background for a card, that won't work because card is not hiding anything. Your particular chart is hiding the card. So your background for the chart has to be deactivated. So just have a check whether you are deactivating the background for the chart or for the card. Try it out. These are some beautification techniques that we use once we are done with our reports. So please complete this at your end. Please complete this at your end and please type done in the chat once you're through. I do have some few done in the top. Great. Okay. Who is- So in terms of inventing, I guess Microsoft initiated and invented Power BI, right? So Tableau is actually a firm, so there is a person. Even I need to actually research on it, and if that is a requirement. Although, to my understanding, during interviews, these questions have never been arrived in. But yeah, if required, these answers would be definitely there on Google for sure. It's just a single Google search away. So if that's required, I can help you with that. So let's say inventor of Tableau. So there are three people who have invented, or rather a founder of Tableau here. So one is Pet, second one is Chris, and third one is Christian. So these are the three people who are made over like a founder, inventor of Tableau. Power BI, it's a Microsoft invention. So if you're looking for a specific person name, yeah, there's no specific person name. It's Microsoft basically. Okay. So yeah, coming back here. Now in this case, I want to put a marker. Let's say I have a visual over here. I have the understanding of the output here. And I would like to mark out my target. Let's say my first target was, let's say, 15 million. My first target was, let's say, 10 million. Second target was 15 million, or let's say 18 million, something like that. So 10 million, 20 million, and let's say 30 million. These are the three set of targets. Or let me put a target a bit lower. So let's say 10 million, 15 million, and 20 million. So these are the three targets that I have achieved. So I want to set those targets in here. Now, how do I do that? Now, to set a target onto your Power BI, to keep a constant line onto your Power BI, you first select your chart. Sorry. Please select your chart. And once the chart is selected, come to the magnifying glass. Come to the magnifying glass. Once you have the magnifying glass, there's an option called constant line. As the name suggests, it will give you a constant line onto your visual. It will give you a constant line on your visual. So once you are here, there is simple add line, right? Click on it and that will allow you to add line. But just adding a line will not work. You'll have to also plot informations into it. For example, this is my first target, right? So you can simply double click on this constant line and give it T1. That's your target one. You can put T1 as your target one. Okay. Once you're at target one, you can open the line option. Once you open the line option, there's an option, or there is a value that you can enter in. There's a value that you can enter in. So we would like to go with, let's say, 10 million as my first target, which is basically 1 CR. Which is basically 1 CR. So please go ahead and put in the number 1 CR. As you type in the number, you would be seeing a blue line from the bottom rising upwards. So let me show you. So let's say in this case, this is 100,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakh. So as you can see, at a point of 10 lakh, I can start seeing this blue line getting lifted up. And I put one more circle, it becomes 1 million. Oh, sorry, 10 million in this case. Once a number are punched in, you can set the color and the formatting. This is basically my primary target, and this is a mandate target. So I'll mark it as, let's say, a red color in this case, considering it as a mandate target. Okay. And let's say the transparency, I'll keep it at lowest so that it stands out. In this case, it's a dot line, dash line. So however you want, you can put it. So I'll go with the dotted line in this case. And if you want it at the back, you can put it at the back. But then in this case, when you go back, when it is placed at the back, your visual is like cut it off. So it's like the target gets cut off completely. So to avoid that, I'll place it in the front itself. But yeah, the placement is on your choice. Please complete till here. Please complete till here. Only have 2 responses, waiting for others. 2 minutes max. I'll wait, guys. Not more than that. For every task, I can wait max 1 to 2 minutes. Great, great. Okay. Give me just 1 minute, guys. Okay. Okay. Now, in this case, in this situation, once we have this particular output ready, okay, we have this particular output ready. What we can do further to it is incorporate new set of targets. Now, further to the bottom, you can also have data labels and all. So first, let's set that up, and then I'll give you the second as a target or an option. So on the data label, currently it's off. I turn it on. I can see the data label being presented on the left side. Now currently it's on the left side. I'll keep it on the left itself. The number should be above. Now what is the style, the value to be displayed? In this case, if I only want the target one has to be displayed, I can put it T1. If I want both, I can put both over here in this case. The color in this case, I'll pick up the same color, red, so that it stands out. Definitely the volume or the value should be in thousands. So I'll put it in thousands so that I can see the number in thousand with no decimals. But so let me put this in million then. And that's my output, 10 million as an output. So that's my first target. So I can see all the products have achieved that target. Now let me add another one. So let's say that's as target 2 for us. Now the best part here is whenever you click on a target, the property changes automatically depending on the target selected. Now my second target, let's say I'll put it as let's say I'll put the second target as 16 million, let's say. This is 17 million. So 7 lakh extra. 70 lakhs extra, not 7 lakhs, sorry. So 1 7. There we go. Again, I'll set the color of my choice. In this case, this is the second target. So I'll put it as, let's say, violet. I'll set the transparency a little bit lower. I'll mark it as a dotted line. So I can see only 3 of them have achieved the target. Again, I'll set the same rules over here, data label. I will set value both. Set the same color. And set the unit to 1,000 millions, 1,000 millions. So please perform these output at your end as well and set the individual targets. The last target in my case, Let's put the last target as or let's have it only two targets. Let's have a two target. That's it. I'm not going with the error lines in this case because if I incorporate error line, then it will show you a small bar. Complete till here. I'll just put a hyphen so that I can bifurcate the terms here. So, yeah, once you are done, please type down after the hyphen. No, I actually extended the transparency. So basically, in this case, I only set two targets. So I was supposed to put in three targets, but basically you understand the concept, so there's no point adding another layer. So basically you understand the frame, right? So yeah. The small thing that we'll need to understand, but first I'll like you guys to complete till here. Then I'll continue with the second layer. Please complete till here. Just waiting for a few more people to complete it. I repeat, please don't rush it. If any questions, queries, feel free to ask. Three of them are done. I'll just wait for another more minute, guys. It's about 7:59. Till 8, I'll wait. Okay. So once you understand this, now the next part is if you realize under the magnifying glass, you only have two options. That's because it also depends on what chart you are selecting. For example, currently you are picking up a chart which is a stack column chart. And because it's a stack column chart, you are only having a limited option of analysis. Let's do one thing, guys. Keep the chart as it is. Just switch it. Select the chart. Switch it to cluster column chart. Nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. Only the property will change. I repeat, nothing will happen. Only the property will change. From a cluster column, it will simply become a from a stack column chart, it becomes a cluster column chart. That's it. But just with this minor change of information, if you go to the magnifying glass now, you would see a collection of more option would be visible now. Earlier, it was just a constant line and error bar. Now, you would be seeing a list of additional feature visible for you. A list of additional feature visible for you. So now you can see you can have a minimum line, maximum line, average line, median line, and so on and so forth. In this case, let's add an average line. So apart from the existing line, you can also incorporate an average line, which will be dynamic in nature. Again, you can plot all the same details again over here. So under services, which on which sector, so on which series we can apply, what the transparency. Let's say in this case, I'll set the color to yellow. Yellow is not visible, so let me pick up another color. Let's say darker blue. And I'll also show data label at the left. Same. Thousand with no decimals. So I guess I'll have to go with millions then. Yeah. So 20 million is the average in this case. Perfect. So basically, my overall target is above average. That's fine. So completed here. And when you collapse it, you can see the information stating what all informations have been provided. So basically, if you have been given a file, if you are given a file from another person, let's say another developer has created a file and you want to understand what all parameters are applied in or how are these applied, you can simply come to the magnifying glass and check what all informations are applied onto the screen. Please complete till here. When to use magnifying glass. So whenever you want to analyze, put target or put more detailed information, you use the magnifying glass. Let's say, for example, in this case, you are not having timeline, right? So let's say, just to show you, let's say I pick a line chart here, right? Now, this is not in-depth analysis, but just to represent the output. Let's say I pick a line here and I pick sales over here. So looking at this, I see this is the output that I have right now, right? Now, let's say I want to understand, considering this as my output, what is the forecasted profit or forecasted sales for the next coming 5 years, 6 years down the line. I just need to have a forecast in this case. So in this case, if I go to a magnifying glass, you see even more options are available. So let's say you can actually see a trend line over here. So you can see a trend line, whether it's an uptrend, downtrend. Then parallel to that, there is a forecast option. When you turn on the forecast, it gives you a forecast based output. Like considering this majorly, it's on an uptrend basis, but on a standards. This is basically the belt that you can think of. So in this case, the forecast in the points is in terms of what points, millets here. So I say in terms of month. So when I specify month, I say click apply. I can see a variant accordingly. This is a month-wise forecast. Let's say if I talk in terms of year-wise forecast, then in that case, I can see a 10-year forecast time frame. So this is the highest side, this is the lowest side, And this is the average basically. This can be the standard in case business do not go up or down. So this kind of output is what we can come up with in case you have a data range accordingly. Sorry. I hope that answers the question where to use the magnifying glass. So to add profit in this case, I'm actually using the, so in this case, I'm setting the target and all these magnifying features are done based on sales. Profit is only a part of my color. I'm just orally communicating like how the profit and everything is done. And for the line chart, I incorporated profit into the x-axis. So for geolocation, it totally depends. So let's say if I have to plot the data here, if you see if I'm clicking on the map here, okay, I put country here, and let's say I put bubble size as sales. So in this particular situation, now if I go to the magnifying glass, there's nothing available, see? Because the content does not support that. So wherever the content supports it, you would be seeing the magnifying glass information. So the magnifying glass information is not there. That means that particular visual or output does not support that information. I hope that answers the question. Kapil? Yeah. Let me cross this out now. Now the next part here is I want to control this visual. Now I have these reports and everything, but I want to control this based on two information. One of the information that I want to work upon is near. Second information that I want to work upon is location. So let me start with the location in this case first. Okay. So what I'll do is in this case, I'll start incorporating and start using slicer. As the name suggests, slices is button control. Please click on slicer. That brings up a frame over here, and I'll place this frame on the extreme right corner right now. I place the slicer at the extreme right corner. Slicer is basically like pivot table slicer or pivot table filter. It allows you to slice down the data. Please try this out till here. So incorporate the slicer, and for now, drag here into the field. Drag here into the field. Let's try it out, guys. Now, once you incorporate year over here, currently being a number, it is giving you a kind of a slider with only 2 year as a bucket. That's not what we want. That's not what we are looking for. That's not what we are looking for. So what we do here is we need to change the property. Now, in the older version, you could have gone to the drop down over here and you could have done the settings directly. You could have done the settings directly. But in this case, we will have to come to the brush icon. We'll have to come to the brush icon. And in the brush, there is settings, slicer settings. Yes. So under slicer setting, there's a drop down over here, which is between. Let's change that to a validation list. What's a validation list? Basically, it is a checkbox, which allows you to select one data at a time, and based on that, you see the output. So let's put a validation list and place this year slicer on the right side, giving me a control for 1 year at a time. Currently, although I can select both of them by using the eraser, and that's fine by me. So depending on whichever year you click upon, you can see the total, average, all those numbers being filtered based on that. So slicer can be played around multiple ranges, but for now, let's start with this. Incorporate year slicer as your option. So repeating again, first you incorporate the year into the slicer. Once you have that, go to slicer settings. From the drop down, you will have an option under slicer setting. From the drop down, you will have an option validation list. Then there are others also. In this case, you are going with validation list. Tile is for button, drop down is to get the drop down between. We will be learning these one after the other, but for now, let's go with validation list. Do not change the second settings, because here you may end up choosing single selection. That will only allow you to select one value at a time. So let's not turn this on. Keep the second settings as it is. Don't make the changes here. Don't make the changes there. So overall, the average is good. But if I talk in terms of 2014, the average is at a mid layer. So it has not crossed the second target. But yes, fortunately, all of the product have achieved the first target. Try it out. Vertical list, yes. Validation list, vertical list, yes. So normally I refer it validation is because it's validate your data. So it's just something that Excel stuck it in my head. Vertical list, yes. So in Excel, we do with data validation, right? It's just stuck it up. Completely here, guys. Great. Okay. The next output here. So now we'll understand slicer, or in this case, we understand the button control a little bit more detail. But for that, we also need another layer. But before that, let's have a control button. So what I want here is I want to control the region also. I want to control the region also as a part of the record. So what I do here is I'll again incorporate another slicer. But this time, now if you realize, when you drag a number, you get a control range. But when you drag a text, you get a drop down by default. You get a drop down by default. So as you can see here, you get the button directly as a checkbox. So depending on whichever country or location you select, you will have your output directly being plotted. As you can see, that gives you a collection of lists. But in this case, what I want here is, I want my Power BI to only allow me to give one selection. And it should be a drop down. So what I do here is, I go to the brush, I go to my option setting, and in this case, from vertical list, I change it to a drop down. That will allow me to have the drop down here. But let's say, for example, if this drop down had a larger list, it becomes difficult to search, right? So I need a search bar as well. So I'll have to first reduce this particular, yeah. So there is a 3 dot. So going to the 3 dot, in the 3 dot, there is an option called search. When you activate this search, you automatically get a search element over here, where you can simply search with a value here directly. Let's say I'll put G. So Germany appears automatically. This makes it easy for her to search a specific parameter. Directly. But let's say in this case, I do not want this feature, then I just have to go to the 3 dot and turn it off. In my current example, I do not want a drop down button. I want to have a button control. I want to view exactly which location am I selecting. For that, you can come to the same option. Rather than from drop down, you click on tile. Tiles are blocks basically, which allows you to have button-based frames. Which allows you to have a button-based frame where you can simply click on a button and see the output directly. Only thing is, if you do not want the button to be active, you just have to click on it once again and it resumes back to its original output. Priyanka, tell me what's your question? You can unmute yourself. By the time others request you to complete the button section. Shiva, you can unmute. Okay. Pandu Tarak, if I'm not wrong, please unmute if there's a question. If not, then I'll just lower your hand then. Shiva, you can unmute. I've allowed you to unmute, so you can unmute. If there's a question, please unmute and ask. Like you can ask. Okay, done. Okay. Okay. Now, once you are done with the button, now do understand one small part here. As a fresh user, as a fresh Power BI user, are we taking? If you are referring to the filter option over here, no, we will not be taking this up because this is when the final report is to be done. So moreover, but I believe we have already discussed this, right? So at a visual level filter. So we have already discussed this yesterday or day before with a very minute detail. Yeah. This is done when all the DAX related output, everything is done. Then we come to the filter part. Yeah. I'm not sure, Shiv, why are you raising your hand? I'm asking you, please go ahead. You can unmute yourself and ask question. If not, please post your question in the chat. Anyways. Oh, okay. Coming back to the point here. So let's say imagine you have these buttons here, but then always understand that a fresh user will never understand that, okay, by clicking on one, the object gets selected, that's fine. But clicking on it once again, it will be deselected. That's not something that everyone will be familiar with. So to avoid that confusion, it's always recommended to have a button called select all that allows us to click on a button to see the entire record. So I want to have a button called select all, which will help me to click on it to see the entire record here. Now to do that, again, I'll click on the slicer here. I come to selection. I come to selection, which is under options. Guys, is my screen not visible to you guys? If yes, please type yes. If it is visible, type yes. If no, please type no in the chat. Okay, it's visible. Okay. Uh, Abdul, just have a check at your end because I just confirmed that others are able to see that. So just maybe refresh or try logging in once again. So, yeah. So yes, exactly. So coming to this output here. So basically what you have to do is you'll have to click on select all option checkbox. This allows you to see a button called select all, where depending on whichever option you click upon, it would be activated and the select all will be grayed out. And as soon as you click on select all, the entire object will be selected. So this way you can actually deselect then whichever is not needed, and you can have a full-fledged output, something like this. So this way the user can have a comfort in terms of using the slice. Please complete clear. Again, if you see there is a magnifying glass for slicer also, but you see there's no formatting and functions over here. So depending on the visuals, the output changes. So please complete till here. I'll take a pause of 2 minutes. Please mute. We are getting the creation. I would not say dashboard creation, moreover the controls for the dashboard. Dashboard creation, I guess we have already done. In the past sessions, whatever we have done, this is all part of dashboards itself, right? So starting from day one, we have incorporated dashboards only. So all of these are dashboard creations only. So it's just that now we are incorporating the controls with. So here now, let's say if you want to control one of the reports or one of the visuals, you know how to control them. So even this is a dashboard, right? It's all about how to control them. Okay. So I didn't receive the. Okay, so the practice file is something that's there in Power BI itself. So I've not shared any Power BI, any separate files. So if you have installed Power BI, it's already there in it. So you don't have to get the, let's say, file downloaded separately. Okay. Yes, basically we are now trying to make an interactive dashboard. And exactly. Kiran, you can unmute yourself. You can ask your question. Can you please repeat? So, sure. I'll just repeat that. Just give me 1 minute. Let me just answer the question if there's any. Okay, no questions here then. Shiva, you can unmute yourself if there's a question. Okay, no question there. Sadhna, please go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Sir, can you
Yeah.
repeat it, sir? Please
Which part do you want me to
repeat it.
repeat?
This one.
The button.
Yeah, sir.
Okay. So basically, to create the button, I repeat again. So firstly, you'll have to create a slicer. Once the slicer is created, you have to incorporate the field that you want to control. In this case, we have drag country as a part of the record. Once that is done, we can come to the brush here. Okay, under the brush, there are controls. So in the slicer settings, we can choose how our visual should look like. So in this case, we tried vertical list, which gives us a drop-down checkbox. When drop-down was there, which is actually giving you only one value visibility, but definitely it can select more than one value unless you activate single selection. Last was style, where it actually represents the output in boxes. The only challenge with this is that if you click on one, the option of deselect or option of select all is not available. And for that purpose, we actually incorporated selection control. And under selection, there's a feature called select multiple item, which is already turned on. Just next to that, there's an option called select show all or select all. So when you activate select all, automatically a button gets popped up, which is called select all. Leela, tell me what's your question? Any question, Leela?
Current bill కట్టాలి
System is fire. Let me mute everyone. Okay. So coming back here, so once the option is turned on, it will allow you to do a select all and deselect, basically. Okay. Yeah. Now, once you are done till here, now the next part, what I want is I want to have a control for the discount as well. I want to have a control for the discount, but apparently I do not have a discount range. What I have is the discount amount. I'm not concerned with the discount amount. I want to see or I want to understand what is the discount percentage given out. Okay. Now to do that, I'll have to do a calculation. So this time I will show you a very simple calculation or how to do calculation in Power BI. So I want all of us to come to the data view. I would like all of us to come to the data view. Okay, once you are here, come to the sample table. Come to the sample table. Now here we will have to do a calculation, and the calculation is basically discount amount. Discount amount, let's say divided by gross sales. Discount amount divided by gross sales, which will help me get the discount basically percentage. Right? Right click on any of the column. And on the right click, I will have a feature called new column. I would request all of you to just watch first. Do it after me, not with me. So right click, I'll click on new column that allows me to create a fresh column for calculation. Okay. Now here's the part, guys. Whenever you do create a calculative column, you cannot calculate for a cell, not like Excel. You're calculating for the whole column. So if you try to do this and by try clicking inside, basically you're telling Power BI that you do not need anything. So it basically deletes that column. So it's always recommended, please don't click. Rather you write it in the formula bar. So let me show you how it is done. So right click, new column. Okay, once the column is created on the top here, whatever is before equals to is the column name and whatever is after equals to is the column value. So in this case, the column name is the discount percentage. So I'll give it a name, DISC percent, discount percent. Okay, discount percent. After that, I put a equals to. Now, basically, discount percent is the column name, and after that, whatever calculation I do is the calculation for the entire column. Now, how do I do the calculation? I can't drag a column into it, right? So you type the column name. In this case, I know that the column name is gross sales, right? So I'll just put in, let's say, discount divided by gross sales, right? So discount. So DISC. So as you can see, as I type it, I'm getting the column. Now, how does the column names are defined? The table name is mentioned before, and in the box bracket, the column name is mentioned. So if I click on it, this is basically the column name. So let me just show you again. So table name is sample and the column name in that table is discount. So this is how the calculation or this is how the tables are capturing it. I just have to divide it by, let's say, gross. Again, you can see because there is no other table with the name gross in it, so it picks it automatically. I click on it, I press an enter, and that's it. That gives me the percentage. That gives me the percentage. Now, although the number are displayed in normal decimal, I'll set it to percentage so that I can see the output in percentage. So this is 0%, this is 10%, 1%, 2%, so on and so forth. So if I open the drop down here, I can see exactly the range of percentage starting from 1 all the way down to 15. So I'll reduce the decimal to 0 in this case. And there we have it. Please complete till here. Okay, guys, by the way, I guess Amar has shared the attendance. So I'll take a pause of 1 minute here and you guys can complete your attendance till then. So it's 34. I'll wait till 35 and then please complete this output. In totality, I'll give you, let's say, 3 to 4 minutes. Please complete the calculation at your end. Once you're done, please type done in the chat. So to cover comma separator, you just click on the comma, that's it. So you can, and for the decimal. So basically, once you click on the column, you get the column tools, and then you can provide all the formatting. So I didn't convert the comma from 1000 to 100. So for that, basically, in my case, my regional setting is done in Indian region. That's why my comma separator is set into hundreds and like basically in lakhs rather in millions. So do you? Yes, I have performed the function on the existing column itself. So basically, I right-clicked, I create a new column first, and then I incorporated the existing column into my calculation. So whenever you're comparing, you normally go with a bar chart or a column chart in that case. Whenever you're preparing a timeline, you go with a line chart. Whenever it's a ratio, you go with let's say pie chart. So all chart has their own variations. So you just have to go through and understand what chart gives output, or what is the human psychology looking at a chart. Once you understand that, then it's just a matter of selecting a chart. Power Query is basically the data cleansing process. So let's say all of these data is coming from a source, and currently all the data that we are working is like full clean, right? But normally that's not the case. Sometimes, or majority of the times, you will get the data the way the data is presented to the client, or the data is presented to you guys. So you'll have to do a lot of sanity checks. You will have to do a lot of cleansing. And adding to that, every time the data doesn't come from Excel, it may be from web, from other sources, from SAP, from internet. So to do this, let's say Power Query in short is basically ETL tool, extract, transform, and load tool, which it extracts the data from another source, transform the data the way you need it, and loads it into your existing version. Simply put, that's Power Query. Today, Shubham, I'm not sure what you're referring tomorrow. Tomorrow there would be a session, so tomorrow will be the last session, I believe, at least for Power BI. But Amar will be helping you with those details maybe at the end. So I'll be handing over the platform to Amar. So then Amar can take it up, and then Amar can answer that question. So whether there is any further session after tomorrow and anything on that line. So yeah. In my okay, so if the column does not show you percentage, just select the column and please click the percentage symbol. It should plot the column directly. Okay. Tomorrow, okay. No issues, no issues. Happy to help. Okay, so the last thing for the day, guys. So once we have this discount, now I just need to incorporate that discount in here. But discount, I don't want as a button. I want as a range. So in this case, I again use a slicer, but this time the slicer will play a different role. So if you see the discount percentage is here, I'll plot it over here. Because it's a discount range, I get a slider. And this exactly is what I needed in this case right now. This exactly is what I wanted in this case. So let's say that this is the minimum discount and this is the maximum discount. So I'll just adjust the height, let's say over here. I'll just place it over here. I'll increase the height a little bit so that I can see exactly what heading it belongs to. Although not needed in case you are already assured of what discount percentage and what value it is in. So, okay, let me put it on this range. Now, this case, I actually have a control of the minimum discount to a maximum discount range that has been allotted. So this way I can have a control range output. Now, the best part in this visual is that you can also control which section to be like controlled in. So for example, if I go to the brush here and in the brush under options, it says between right now. right? It says between right now. So if you want, you can actually switch it to only one layer, which is, let's say, less than. That means you only have the maximum discount and you can control the maximum discount in this case. To what max discount you are availing the discount in this case. So let's say I get an avail of 7% discount, the max. So in this case, this is the sales that I have done during the 7% discount sale. So this way I can have a range bound answer. Similarly, let's say the other way around, greater than, where the lowest is what I control. So 0, 1, 2, what is the highest discount I've given in? And based on that discount, my range changes automatically. So this way I can have a control at my level of output, like whichever output is needed at my end. Normally in the visualization section at a major level, between is used where you can control both the discount. Let's say if you click on Amazon or any of the shopping website, you always get a control of both sides, right? Start point and the end point. The same logic goes here. Akshita, please go ahead. You can unmute yourself. Any question? Okay. Kamju, go ahead. What's your question?
Sir,
Yeah,
can you please repeat it again?
sure. I can
Discount
do that.
card.
Yeah. You're referring to the slicer or you're referring to the calculation? Okay, I take that it might be. Yeah, you can unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Sir, slicer one.
Slicer one. Okay, okay, fine. So to get the slicer, firstly, you drag the discount percentage into the field. And here you just go to the drop down under option and you can control the basically the selection control. So you're keeping in between, you can have it less than or greater than depending on what you want to control the discount percentage at. And let's say basically whichever discount it is, you can put it in the between parameter, which allows you to control the minimum and the maximum rate. By the way, you can put the number also over here manually. So let's say if I want to put, let's say 0% or let's say 10% here, I can simply put 10% over here. Let's say that is 0.1. And you can see it gives me 0.1, which is basically 10% of the output. So this way I can have a control on my entire visual as well directly. So I'll save the Power BI file for now. So that's about it, guys, for the day. So any questions, queries, I'll be happy to answer them. So just stop my screen. And adding to that, I will request Amar to just share the further agenda. So tomorrow and day after, however it is. So Amar, if you're there, please answer the question for are we having session for the post tomorrow? Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. So guys, tomorrow is the last session of Tableau and Power BI program. So we already started one program on digital marketing, so you can join for that. But tomorrow is the last day of this program.
Okay, thank you, Amar, for the heads up.
Yes, I
So
already
guys,
shared the attendance link.
Yeah.
So please mark your attendance and give your valuable feedback. Yeah, you can go ahead now.
Yeah, guys, any questions in the next 5 minutes, please post in the chat. If not, then I'll hand over the platform to Amar and then Amar can take it up from there.
No, there is no fee for digital marketing also. Guys, I will you explain regarding the certificate in tomorrow's session. Don't worry about the certificate. Yes. You need to register again. Shraddha, which PDF you want? From yesterday only, we started the digital marketing and it's for 16 hours, 8 days. Yes, we share the registration link by tomorrow. No problem. Power BI, there is no any material. So refer the recorded sessions, then you will get the idea if you face any difficulties. Prajakta, only 2 days. Don't worry about that, but recorded sessions are there in the LMS. So no need to worry. Welcome, Shraddha. Thank you so much, all of you, for such valuable feedbacks. Harshini, I'm sharing my number. Harshini, this is my WhatsApp number. Just drop me a message, then I will connect with you. Diksha, recorded sessions are there in the LMS. You can visit anytime. And you have access to lifetime. Tanoy, you will get the assignment. Once we're done with the program, then we'll upload the assignments also. Vishal, I didn't get yesterday's record sessions. Yeah, we'll upload that. By tomorrow, you will see that. Yeah, Hare Krishna. You can enter for that. Thank you so much for thank you. Mayur Patil is asking for attendance. Okay, Mayur. Welcome, Hare Krishna. Guys, any doubt, any query, please drop in chat box. There is one question. What about attendance as 80% placement? Prajakta, 60% attendance was mandatory to get the certificate. Diksha, you have any query? Diksha, recorded sessions are available in the LMS. Prajakta, you can do a digital marketing from Monday onwards. I have registered for digital marketing course, but I didn't get a confirmation email. If you have any query, please drop a mail on edl@excelr.com. I'm sharing that mail in the chat box. Welcome, Diksha. Oh, sorry. If you have any query regarding the LMS, please drop a mail. Our team will help you on the same. Don't worry. When the masterclass sessions series regarding Power BI and Tableau mean I want to register for advanced level of session. Tanoy, I'm sharing my number. Please drop me a message. You will get assignment in LMS. No need to submit assignment anywhere. It's just for your practice. Welcome, Tanoy. Good night, Umesh. Guys, if you have no any query or question, you can leave the session. Yeah, bye. Good night. Just one technically is also there. Yeah, like SEO, then Google Ads. Guys, I think that's all. So we'll wind up the sessions. So we'll meet you on tomorrow. Thank you so much, all of you. Good night.